I don't think we're hearing you. Let's see. Try again. Uh, Can you hear me? No, you can't hear me. Okay. What about what about now?
I hear
There you
you.
go.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
Oh, thank you guys for all your patience with us. As you know, I'm new to the air, and so it's really amazing for you all to grow with us. So today we had some major growing pains of falling behind, and so to move through the chaos with harmony is what we teach, right? So again, I'm just going to welcome you to Live with Nicole, Return
Hmm.
to Consciousness.
Yeah, well,
We are here with Shizan P. Osif, which is he is a world renowned filmmaker, documentary, and he's also known for his photography and moving into places that of suffering around the world. And so it is an honor to have him here on our show today. And what an amazing time for him to grow with us because this radio station is growing. We're new. I jumped into my uncomfortable zone. I wasn't going to do this radio because of fear of this fear. And I'm like, I teach people to step into their fear. So what better yet than to do this right now? And today, my big day, I've been waiting for practicing and it fell behind. So I'm very, very grateful for the people that support us. And so now the Facebook Live is up in the YouTube. And so
hmm,
now we'll go ahead and ask a little bit about your story. So I'll have us
yeah,
start
sure.
over.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm basically from India, Mumbai. Um, I have been doing documentary films for the last 18, 19 years around the world. Visited little more than 33 countries, and as a result, made films, documentaries, short films, and won 10 international recognitions, starting from United Nations, even from this country, United States of America. It's a wonderful journey. Now I am here in Utah, St. George, to make another thrilling film of the life of Nicole Ashton. This is, in fact, is a second film that I'm doing on her life.
Yes. So I remember the day that you met me. So for those who are just tuning in or are listening to the radio station itself and don't know who Nicole Ashton is,
Hmm.
that would be myself because I think I forgot to introduce me
Yeah.
in the beginning. But I am Nicole Ashton, international healer, and I've also traveled the world assisting people. And I think this broadcast is a little bit more difficult than I thought. I remember 5 years ago you looking me in the eyes and saying you are so much more than I thought. I didn't realize that you had came to where we met to actually meet me that day. I just thought we were on an adventure and I was helping. I was just going to join in and have some hot cider with everybody. And then
You're right.
and that day you believed in me when
You're
no
right.
one else did
Hmm.
and saw something in me that I hadn't seen yet.
You're right. It was like, yeah, you're right. In 5 years back, we had a meeting. We met each other at Paula's place in Salt Lake City. And when I saw you, I said, oh, this is a woman, like has got a lot of power in you. And can we talk? You remember? Can we talk?
Yes.
And we sat together, and we three of us sat together and started talking to each other. I didn't know what the history lies behind you. But in the process of telling the story, I came to know more about you. Then we said, all right, there is a lot of scope for a wonderful film. Why can't we go ahead with that? Then it took a little more than 2 years to ponder over, to think over, to meditate whether we should do it. Then the journey began.
Yes, it did. And the 2 years of my experience getting to that, I was finding myself. I had just barely moved or started being in the world at all. and I had met Paulette through the Parliament of World's Religions, where I realized that people are separate, and that was really hard for me to comprehend when I just had come from the light, and there's nothing separate. We all have this light in our heart, and so I started to expand on that the best that I knew how at that time, and that was by by following spirit and putting a massage bed in my mom's house and just saying, okay, I'm going to show up. I don't know what I'm doing, but guide me. And so I didn't really know at that time what even you meant. I didn't even know what a documentary was, because I was still relearning my kids. I was still relearning just my past. I was still relearning it. I was just, and so when you said a documentary, that's what you do. I understood it, but not like people think that I would. And so I can remember when you called me and we Skyped,
Yeah,
and
right.
and you shared that you wanted to do a documentary on me, and I'm like, okay. I have no idea what it even meant. and then when you showed up, and we just it was like it was so naturally designed.
You're right. Because for me it was like a great surprise to meet someone who died for 10 minutes and living on earth, spreading the light. So that attracted me as a filmmaker to capture your movements, your thoughts, what you do exactly. And yeah, I think we did a good job in the first film.
Yes.
And we had a wonderful screening, a kind of releasing of our film with a large crowd. And that was the first time that I released my film in this United States of America. So that was very thrilling for me. And getting that inspiration from that particular film, I don't know if you remember that. In the speech I said, we are going to make the second part of this film,
Yes.
and now I am here as part of that second part. So hopefully, we will say when it's been released, you would say that we are going to have another couple of episodes more.
And it has ever changed. Like the first film was very. I still have this childlike personality, and everybody that knows me knows that childlike heart is just that's me.
You're right.
And I feel like that we really captured the scared child, because I was really afraid. Everyone's like, you see all this stuff, these light and dark and angels and all this stuff that people were confused about, created them a confusion in me. So I was afraid to even really share much of my story. If you remember,
You're right.
it took a lot for me to even talk on that film. And then now I realize that what people think is not why I came back. And so my message is what the creator told me, the light told me, that I was shared with in that 10 minutes. And other times I also had other experiences that I got messages. And the interesting thing is the second one that's coming, a lot of people have said, you're so scared in the first one, why are you doing this again? And I said, because I said I would. I said I would. When I was in the light, I said, I will share this message of light no matter what that looks like. And I did. And I've shown up, and we still, this second one, we're not, we are going with spirit, and it is already going beautifully. People are aligning. We have a lot of support that we didn't have before through like Nico Hansen and other people that have just showed up, knowing that you're not even actually knowing that you're here. So
You're right.
it's been very beautiful.
In fact, I was getting a lot of phone calls and emails and Facebook messages from around the world asking me who this woman is all about, what she's up to. Then I said, yeah, she died. And she has come back into life. And the wonderful thing about the whole process is that we had a very wonderful connecting link. Her name is called Rita.
Yeah.
She's the one who inspired us, and she's the one who said, okay, Shizen, I know you very well. Nicole, I know you very well. You people, if you come together, you can create a wonderful product altogether. and we had the first project. Yeah, the universe is asking each one of us to make a kind of contribution towards the universe, and this is a way that we can do, and we are doing our level best. I'm so happy.
Yes, we are. And showing up is the first step. I mean, sitting in with your I don't want to say failures, so I'm going to say air quote failures or your falls and things like that. I think true failure is when you don't try.
You're right.
Because this is a lot of people think this comes really easy to me and to you because it's what we do, but we go through our same stuff. We go through the same stuff everybody else does, and it's about getting back up, and it's about getting back up stronger, and it's about recognizing those pieces that you get to take with you from the past experiences without being in the past experiences, and that is where the power lies.
You're right.
It's you are able, you fall sometimes, you have these let's say cycles of life that you get to learn. You go to the light, and then all of a sudden you realize you're on a pedestal someone kicked you off of, that you never even put you didn't create that for you. You didn't even know that people put you in that space.
You're right.
And then you I found that if you absorb what people are saying and you take it on as yourself when you have a trial, then that is when you don't get back up. And so I can tell you, sit here right in front of you and say, we've all fallen. We've all been in that space. And you have it within you. And it is only up to you to step back into your power and fly.
You're right.
And that's very important right now, because the message today I want to get across is that we have a lot of healers. We have a lot of light workers that are choosing to transition out, meaning they're committing suicide.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, from being in this light, helping people all the time, and then when they go through their own experience and they don't have the support, then they think that their gifts aren't authentic. And that's not true. Everybody's going through their own experience right now. And have you recognized that in your work?
Of course. In my field, it's a very competitive field, just like, of course, in your field too. It's very competitive because everyone is a healer now. Every second person whom you meet is a healer. The same way, like every second person whom you meet is either photographer or a documentary filmmaker or a filmmaker. So it's very challenging, and it's very challenging to get a good subject and portray or make that subject into the larger scale.
I find a lot too is owning your stuff. Like when you find a subject, when you find an idea, when it really gets into the let's say air quote shadow stuff or things that life has happened that people hide from it, and
Yeah.
that therefore the story becomes unauthentic.
Exactly.
And as you know, for me, I hit it straight on. There's things that I'm not proud that I made certain decisions, but I did it, and I got back up, and I got back up stronger. And everyone can do that.
Yeah, right. I remember while editing our first film back in Mumbai, one of the editors asked me, "Sir, can we remove some of the parts where she says she was drunk? She has taken some kind of drugs. Can we remove that part? Because the people will look at her in a different light altogether." Then I said, "No. If you remove that part, then she becomes like we are showing only one side of her life. Let's not do that." So we had a lot of argument while editing. But I was so strict. I was so stubborn. I said, whatever she has conveyed the story to us through this camera, we need to keep it as it is. Let's not add, like in Bollywood, we add a lot of masala, we add a lot of spices into the story to make active and alive, and so that the people would love it. But I said, let's not do that. Let's keep it as it is, and let's see how the people are going to appreciate.
And And I really, even I struggled with that at the beginning because of what I felt others thinking. And also, it says we talk about alcohol, which my dad he
Mm-hmm.
stopped drinking, but he's an alcoholic. And then when I heard the story, because it came out truthfully, and I just shared it without thinking, I was worried about how he thought. And my dad told me that he looked at my mom actually, and he said, "Connie, that's the truth."
Mm-hmm.
And I did not work very hard for where I'm at, and we did not work very hard for that film for it not to be truth.
All right.
No matter how I looked, because where I'm at now is going to assist people that are where I was at.
All right. Mm-hmm.
And when I look at a really authentic light worker,
Mm-hmm.
healer, experiencer, influencer, I'm like, you know what? I wonder what their scars are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they have them. If you're strong, you have your own scars,
You're
and
right.
most are willing to share if you ask them. And I found that authentic part is what most people
Mm-hmm.
are going through something. Because I don't teach anything I haven't experienced myself. I don't teach. I won't share it. And so when I'm doing healings, when I'm with people, they can feel that my compassionate heart is so with them because I went through it, and I
You're
don't
right.
deny it. I don't hide because it might make me look bad.
All right.
That is not embracing this dark, or this air quote again,
Mm-hmm.
this shadow dark side.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how powerful that created. I mean, this created me to drink and be destructive.
Mm-hmm.
When I embraced that part and said, I love you, and I know the light in me is so intense, and I know that I can transmute you, this dark part of me, as a piece of me,
You're right.
and use that strength to empower people. That's the truth. And if I was not to tell my whole truth and just keep out the pieces that people are going to judge me from,
Mm-hmm.
then it wouldn't be authentic, and it wouldn't touch the hearts of the
Exactly.
people that I need to touch. And the ones that judge me, I'm sorry, but you
Mm-hmm.
cannot unconditionally love anybody while in judgment. And so I send you blessings to love yourself.
You're right. You're right.
So,
While shooting the first film, I had a lot of experiences in terms of like meeting people who really struggled in their life, and they came forward and said, I remember one guy said, I took the gun to shoot myself. Then suddenly I remembered Nicole. A kind of light came to me, and the phone rang. I took the phone. Then I couldn't commit suicide. And it was the call from Nicole. That kind of um, interaction, that kind of explanations for life have been given throughout the interviews. That attracted me to the subject.
and
It's like saving lives, saving hundreds of people's life or more, knowingly, unknowingly, and it's happening. And there are people just cried in front of the camera. The tears were coming out. They said, yes, we are saved because of this single woman.
so sorry. When I revisit the film and I see that, I mean, my whole entire life is circled around the people, and now it's the thousands that have been helped. But when I look in each one of these clients or people's eyes, I see they found them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they say you save, then they say, Nicole saved me. I'm like, when I bridged that light and you remembered it,
You're right.
and you found you saved you. You're the first one that had to show up. I
Mm-hmm.
can bridge that white light for you because I know it so well, and I diligently and like I said, I've gone through my own stuff, but I've diligently practiced the compassion, and I don't know any different. I don't know I can't do it.
You're right.
I don't,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's been part of my being able to move forward so quickly and have my own falls and have my experiences too, because I'm human.
You're right. Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't have those experiences, I wouldn't grow into strength.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to hold space just hold space. I'm here to show through experience that you too can get up and change your life.
You're right.
And you can do it like that. And I did. I hit rock bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But was it 0 point so I could really appreciate the people that I was assisting?
Mm-hmm. You have a very good group of people around you, starting from your mother, your father, the people who really support you. I think that's the really backbone of your life. Of course, you have that inner ability to stand up in any moment of the time, and do what is designed for you. I really appreciate that part of your life, and I see that day by day.
So here we go. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and we'll be back with Shaizan P. Osuf and Nicole Ashton.
Next time on your weekly constitutional, The Trials of Nina McCall, author Scott Stern is going to tell us the sordid and astonishing tale of thousands of American women who were grabbed on the streets, hauled off to prison, and kept there on suspicion of having sexually transmitted diseases, or sometimes simply for being quote-unquote promiscuous. No due process here, folks.
Your weekly constitutional, Saturday mornings at 10 on Radio St. George 100.3. On Saturday, May 18th, St. George Races presents the St. George Fit Games with 2 different competition styles. Style 1, CrossFit St. George, with teams of 4 competing in 3 different events. Style 2, the Grip Ninja, with a timed Ninja Warrior course. Get signed up now at sgcity.org. The St. George Fit Games, Saturday, May 18th at the Dixie Sun Bowl, brought to you by St. George Races.
Radio Dixie and Radio St. George would like to thank AWI Networks. AWI has gone above and beyond in helping the DSU radio stations stay on the air. AWI provides high-speed internet service, dedicated wireless fiber, and digital phone services. AWInetworks.com.
Radio St. George 100.3 FM needs your help. Since we're a non-commercial radio station, you have the opportunity to support all of this great, local, community-minded programming with an underwriting sponsorship. Underwriting is a great opportunity to let the community know who you are and that your donation is being used locally to benefit the students at Dixie State University. Be a sponsor. RadioSt.George.com. And thank you for your support from Radio St. George 100.3 FM.
Tune in for Reveal from the Center for Investigative Reporting, Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Radio St. George 100.3 FM.
You're listening to Radio St. George 100.3 FM. We now welcome you back to Return to Consciousness with your host, Nicole.
Hello, hello. Welcome back, all you beautiful people. Again, we have the amazing Shaizan P. Osuf, and I am Nicole Ashton. And the second half, we're going to really talk about, I really want to bring world change in and how you have influenced and how, like, the upcoming projects and how people can really show up. For me, I started with going to Asia, and I went to Asia by myself. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I had a calling to go and sit in the temples with the Tao Master. And really, I want to learn the origin of people. I wanted to learn what it felt like, what it looked like. I didn't want to read a book because I don't really understand them anyway. So I was like, I want to go find out what this passion for life is in other places. And everyone told me that is too scary. They told me all the time, that's really scary to leave the country. And you know what? It was the most fabulous time. So I jump on a plane. Mm-hmm. I realize it's like 13 hours, and I'm really excited about it. And then I start listening to everyone. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to communicate. I didn't even realize that we didn't have communication. I'm like, oh no. So I sat there, and you know what? Divinely, things just started lining up for me. This lady next to me, she said something in English. I'm like, oh, yeah, you speak English. She got me through Hong Kong and Taipei and into Taiwan. And I learned that the when you're resonating at a love energy, when you're resonating as unity and as accepting people, people will show up that
Sure.
assist you. And
Sure.
the universe is conspiring with us, not against us.
Yeah.
We are the one that rejects things. And so as I'm in that space of traveling and learning the origin of the people, like first it started with healing. I wanted to find out what this healing ability I had was. I found out it is the love. I was seeking where love was simple. And I found within inside of each of these temples, monks, the Buddhas, that they hold a compassionate love space with no judgment. Again, you cannot love anybody while in judgment. The vibrational frequency does not match. So I went there, and I was finding the unity. And I'm going to Haiti to next month to assist in building the culture there, so
Wow.
that they too can feel, because I know, and I went to other places, but there's this love, and there's the universal language that I found, that no matter if the communication is there or not, there's that feeling of acceptance and allowing, if you yourself allow you. So it's like it was up to me.
Yeah, right.
And so through your experiences, because you've traveled a lot more and been in a lot of different places and in the highs and lows,
Yeah, right.
what are some that just stand out to you the most?
The most interesting fact for me to find a good subject. So in order to get that good subject, I always, search for it. Most of the time it comes. For example, including our subject, this film on the healing hands, it has come. Even we didn't think about what name we should put it, but it has come automatically. Recently, I was shooting in Uganda, an international organization called the YVCO, which stands for the Vulnerable Children, Women, and the Youth in the entire Africa. We think that some of the African countries are very poor. But with my experience after going there, I have been to various countries in Africa. Going through all these countries, what I found that the countries they are very rich in terms of the people, in terms of their tradition, in all aspects, except this called the money. The money, they may not have the money, but they have the rest of everything. So selecting that kind of subjects, because today's world, look at each other. If you have money, you are someone big. If you don't have money, you are from the third world country or from that side of the. But it's not the richness, it's not the look, but the richness is inside. The look is inside. The moment you understand that, you start to value the people, you start to value the person, you start to respect the person. And this comes when you are enlightened. When you have the insight, when you have the light on you. That's why in almost all emails towards the end, I write light and peace. These are the two things that we require in today's world, the light and peace. Of course, you added another one more, that's called love. So we have three pieces. If you put together these three pieces, I think the world is going to be a wonderful place. and it is. And the last film which I was working on in Los Angeles, it's called The Religious Harmony. How can you bring the religious harmony from the various religions in the form of the art called the music by a wonderful person called Ruth. She composed all these musics, invited people from various countries. We had someone from Jamaica, we had someone from Brazil, someone from Israel, China, America. Of course, I am from India. So we had a mix of people coming together and performing this musical event.
And what was that called again?
It's called Interreligious Music Fest.
So Ruth, I love her very, very much. And isn't that interesting? Her and Rita are our pivotal. Those are our connections.
Exactly. We have these connections.
Yeah.
Rita, Ruth, you, Paulette, and me. Of course, there are other people also involved in this group.
My mom.
Yeah. So the subjects, there are interesting subjects which is around the world. But how do you make use of these subjects for peace, for love, for light? And that's what I am interested.
My observation of, because I do observe a lot. All my stuff I can put in one suitcase and I'm good to go. I haven't attached myself to really much here. I have learned love, and I have learned the human love, because I have a universal love that I came back with, and that the attachment of love I didn't really learn until this last little while. And I learned that it's very important for you to love at a capacity to actually not, I don't want to say need, but actually feel it back. There you go. Feel that return of love that you get the opportunity to feel that. But I found that it's not that people can't they can't be in harmony. They choose not to be, because it's just a choice away, and it's the mental gymnastics that people play, even if their heart is resonating at peace and harmony. Their brain is going. It like tells them that everything that they taught is a lie, and which that's not true. It's just that you were taught the best you could at that time.
All right.
And things are shifted now, and that's okay. But it seems like people are so hard. Like for instance, we're all supposed to be separate, right? We're all separate, and if you come in my space and you don't look and dress and act like me, then you should be over here. And we've like placed people where we have no idea where they belong, only they do, and we belong everywhere. So it's like breaking down that learned belief system of separation and being okay with it.
Yeah. Right.
And it's like the ego jumps up and says, "Oh, no way! That means everything I've ever learned isn't truth." You know what? It's not. It's not. There's bits and pieces that are your truth that resonate with you, because you're the only one that knows your truth, and 7 billion people here with different truths, because that's their light is their own intelligence. It's like, how do you get that? How, like you're asking the same question is, as an observer, is this separation through language.
All right.
This is really what I've found, because like I said, I went in other countries not understanding their language, so I had to use all heart language. And you know what? I got home fine. and I have connections through that space that are Peru, Guadalajara, or world, all around the world, these connections that I created because I didn't have judgment. And they didn't have me. And I believe that the biggest separation of people is the language.
Exactly.
It's through words.
Exactly. Language and religion. These are the two things, separates people from each other. And I think the more and more number of religions in the world, the issues are more and more. Let's look back like 2,000 or 3,000 years back. We had maybe few religion. And so that we had very less enemies. Now the number of religion increased. Back in India, we say that we have 10,000 god and goddesses, and we don't know how many religions that we have. As a result, religion itself gives us a kind of a power to act and behave and with morality and many things. But sometimes it puts you into a kind of a block. Or they put you into a room, the four walls room, and say that, okay, what I say, what we say is the truth, absolute truth. As a result, the followers of that particular religion ends up somewhere. Yeah, we have problems in the world because the way that we don't understand what religion is all about. Even if we understand, we don't know how to follow, how to act, or how to listen to that.
So when I first started learning about religion, I understood that first I was sent back not to choose one because that would limit me in my abilities to assist people that weren't like me. And meaning air quote that I was the religion I was raised in. And so I have a high respect for all religions, and I sit and I listen. That's it. I listen to the fundamental love frequency, the connection that people have, the how they're following in a harmonious way. And that is what you should share is again 7 billion people on this planet.
You're right.
How can we even expect somebody to feel the same way? That will never happen.
You're right.
Because we have different frequencies and different lights. And so when I was sent back from the light and I was told, keep it simple, no religion and unconditional love, and those 3 things, you will do your purpose. And that was very clear before I dove in my body. The religion thing I didn't get until it was not a negative thing, which some people think that sounds negative, but it wasn't. The light was simply saying I didn't have to choose. And that left me open to heal many, to assist in healing many. And now that I had to relearn everything, and as people were trying to put me in a box that I wouldn't fit in because I refused, I could see how I could have not assisted as many people through a judging heart.
You're right.
And so I'm like, my message, what is this message with the religion part? And I feel like just listening to other people's ideas and respecting where they're at, that works for them. It might not work for you, but they're happy in it.
Yeah, coming to that point, when we listen to somebody, we get to know who he is. That reminds me of a wonderful experience that I had in 2008 when I was in Brussels, Belgium, to attend a UN conference. As a result, like when I went there in 2008, I was looking like a boy. So when I went to speak, people thought, oh, this boy, what he's going to speak. Then when the opportunity came, it was like 12 minutes I performed, or I did talk. Then end of the talk, everyone just clap and clap and clap. Then after that, people started to come to me, asking questions. They want some kind of things to get from me in terms of like to know who I am and more. But I was not the person who went inside. When I came out, there are more people gathering around me than the chief guest.
Oh, wow.
So it's like the moment we share what we know, what we are, people get attracted towards you. Yeah. And that's the truth.
And I'm going to put out there before we still have 10 minutes, but I'm going to let everyone know that there is an honorary, it's a brunch and potluck, and it is at Neeson Park in Washington, Utah at 10 o'clock on Saturday the 18th. And the most amazing thing is it lined up on the full moon. We had no idea. Wow. We did not plan that.
And that's amazing.
Yeah. we knew you were going to be here. We wanted to honor you, and so we planned this so people could get to know what you do.
Thank you.
And feel that love and the passion for life that you share with so many. And I know that. And you can find the information on energyhealingbydesign.com, or you can follow Live with Nicole or Shaizan P. Ossoff on Facebook. And again, that's this Saturday, the 18th. And so we're really, really excited. And so bring blankets if you come, because there's not very many chairs. And we're also going to do an energy circle and a drum circle with Holly Hope and Jeff Olson. He has also had an experience of crossing over, and he has wrote books. He will also be there. So it's going to be a gathering of greatness.
Wow.
Yeah. So I feel the energy now, just being able to share that it's like this almost humbling. Does that make like this humbling experience I feel that's going to happen with all of us in the same circle and sharing it with other people. Woo. Let's go to a wave of crybabies. So I'm going to let you share a little bit about what you were going to share before. Sorry.
Oh yeah. My entrance to United States of America my entry to United States of America was in 2012 when we did the first film called The Co-Sexuality there in Puerto Rico. Then after that, there was a gap of like 3 years. Then I became part of the ENGGE, is an organization which is based in New Hampshire. It's about educating the poor, children, and the people in Africa or Asian countries. Working with them and interacting with them, I got inspired. I can't really say I got inspired or they got inspired. They appointed me as one of the members, the board of directors of that institution. So that gave me a kind of other opportunities to work in the field of education, especially in Africa. And this is like the film with Nicole is like my third major thing which is happening in the United States. And as I shared earlier, the last one was with Ruth in Los Angeles. So yeah, things are happening. I'm so happy that it's happening one by one, as the way that I'm looking for.
And I can say from the bottom of my heart and the depths of my soul that I am forever grateful and honored to be your subject, to be the one that you also chose to expand my gifts and my experience wouldn't be the same without you looking me in the eyes that day and seeing my soul that I hadn't even recognized yet, because I didn't know what that even looked like. And so, the thousands of people that I've held space for and that have healed from major illnesses, also thank you.
Thank you. I must thank you too, because when I extended my invitation of making this film, you said, yeah, let's think about it. If you have said no to me, then I don't think we would be sitting here across the table and talking about you and me to the world.
Yes. And that's quite the jump, right? Earlier I said, sometimes people think it's really easy, but believe us, we're stretching some days.
Yeah, it's not easy. The journey is not at all easy. It has got its own ups and downs, and yeah.
And the choice too, and as I share with others, it's the choice. It's what you choose to do with your experiences, and instead of hide from them and move into a space of that you're not good enough because of your experiences is not true. You are good enough. You had those experiences to empower people and be strong. And when you get up and you move forward, little bit by little bit, or big steps, that's your choice, but you can do it. And it's I believe in you, and there's always a place to reach out. You can always reach out at me, energyhealingbydesign.com, and Shaizan P. Ossoff on Facebook, or
You're right.
is that how they
Or-
would get a hold
or,
of you?
Or they can also get in touch with me, shaisanp@gmail.com.
Yes. So have questions, and you can email him or myself, and the gathering of greatness. Yay! I love that. Is on
Saturday.
on Saturday, May 18th at 10 o'clock at Neeson Park, and we bring a blanket and we'll get a meet and greet, the energy circle and a drum circle with Holly Hope, and also Jeffrey Olson will be there. So it's really exciting. When I put this together, which was in a week, I should have. Sometimes I procrastinate, but I get too busy and I think I'll do this later. We all do that, right? So when this came, I was going to have it at Mom's house, at my mother's house, and then the response to it was amazing. So I mean, we could not do this without you, without the listeners, without the followers, without the believers, and we do this. I do. I'll speak for myself. I show up every day for you. I show up for you to find you, not for me to heal you.
You're right.
And I'll hold that space because it is the most beautiful experience to witness people awakening and unfolding and loving their selves.
Wonderful.
Yes, and that's what inspires me every day is those experiences, those stories that you get that we've captured already. But the most amazing thing is the first one was about individuals. This one is about collectively coming together and sharing that. That's empowering and impactful.
You're right.
So
yeah, it's like we are getting a kind of a backup. We are getting a kind of help. That's the reason we both are sitting over here and talking, because you have your family backup. I have my wife and kids, those who are literally praying for me, or those who are literally supporting me. The same way that we have a great support from the listeners and the people who really wants undergo this healing touch. I hope and pray that Nicole will do this wonderful job on this earth. Thank you for giving me this chance to capture you and make a wonderful film and show it to the world. Yes, there are healers in this world. When I say healers, the real healers who can touch your heart.
And I'm showing up. So we will, the more films to come. And thank you for listening to Live with Nicole, Return to Consciousness, and we'll see you next week.
You've been listening to Return to Consciousness with your host, Nicole Ashton, creator of Energy Healing by Design, a world-renowned healer and luminary whose life after death experience has allowed her the gift of empowering people around the globe to heal and grow in their true authentic space. For audio and or video of this, go to Facebook or YouTube, Podbean or Spotify, and search Radio St. George or radiostgeorge.com. We invite you back next Wednesday at 4 o'clock for Return to Consciousness with Nicole Ashton on Radio St. George 100.3 FM.